Hello, everyone. My name is Danny, and I'm going to review Daddy's Home 2. Get ready for the daddy of all family comedies. When it comes to raising their kids, Dusty and Brad finally had this co parenting thing down. That is, until Dusty's macho dad and Brad's sweet natured father come to town, throwing the whole family into complete chaos. As old rivalries create new problems, Dusty and Brad's partnership is put to the ultimate test in this hilarious and heartwarming comedy that gives new meaning to the term blended family. This is rated PG 13. It's a 2017 movie running about 99 minutes. It stars Will Ferrell, Mark Wahlberg, and the fathers, Mel Gibson and John Lithgow. And there's a bunch of other people. John Cena, he's barely in it, which I thought he could have been in it more. To start, I thought the timeline was a little bit rushed. It kept on jumping from activity to activity, and I just kind of felt like it could have spent a little bit more time on each kind of situation. Um, so I just thought it could have taken more time. It is just a little over an hour and a half. I thought it could have taken a little bit more time to explain a couple more things here and there. A lot of the times they have this huge argument and then it jumps to that night. And I just would have appreciated a little bit more material, I guess. Um, the big thing with this movie, it's not about being a sequel with this one. I found myself kind of feeling that it's not bad because it's a sequel. It really was its own movie. It was a complete different concept from the first one because it involved the grandpas and they were a heavy dose of why this movie was good was because of the grandpas. So the first one was completely about, how to deal with being a step parent. This one has so much more material and problems, and the involvement of the grandfathers just, make it its own thing. So I just felt like they were a little bit over dramatic with the problems that they had. I don't I didn't really expect them to be so over dramatic about certain things, and it's a comedy. And yes, it says on the back of the sleeve that it's heartwarming, and it is on certain parts, especially as you get to the end. It kind of wants to go that route more and more. But I just felt like some of the problems at the beginning, they were just way overblown. One of those is the whole one of the daughters, she's probably the older one of the three. She is kind of a bad example. And at one point, she just, every night, she turns up this thermostat. And so everybody's just sweating and just hot. And it turns into a discipline issue if they can, control her from turning the thermostat up. And they had a conversation for like 5, 10 minutes on this subject. And I just thought it was way overblown. They could have just said, well, that's how you don't control your daughter and moved on from it. But they actually had to have a conversation about it. I thought it was way too much. The other thing was that about when they went bowling. Bowling is bowling, okay? A lot of us are have when we go, we just have fun. This movie wants to turn it into if a kid doesn't have the rails in, then they're not being confident about what they can do, and they turn that into a serious subject of, not being able to stand up for yourself, not having confidence in yourself. It's bowling, everybody. Just let the kid use the rails. When they're ready, they're ready. I dealt with this with my nephew, and at one point he kind of thought maybe he was ready for the rails, and he wasn't, so we just put him back up. It's not a big deal. It's you need to let kids grow, and this movie just makes it way over dramatic. Um, Also, their reaction to this scene of cutting down a Christmas tree. Will Ferrell is Brad, and he cuts through a telephone pole, gets electrified, gets thrown off into the distance. Everybody thinks he's dead. And then they start talking about something else, and they're doing something else, and they're yelling at each other. I'm like, what is the reaction to somebody's dead? They're supposedly dead. Like, oh, let's have some human reaction to that and actually be concerned. And, I think even the young girl says something like, "Are you okay, Dad?" or something like that. I'm like, what? So that it's just the reactions, the human emotion, the human way of handling things. We don't make a big deal about turning up the thermostat. We don't make a big deal about putting up bowling rails. We don't not react when somebody we think we love and we're close to, when they're dead. We don't just like, oh, go, oh, are you okay? Are you okay? That's stupid. I mean, it's like that's what makes this movie stupid. Okay. Now the things that make it good is Will Ferrell. I have a direct line to my funny bone with him. He is tremendous, and he sells it so great in this movie. He has a thing with the snowblower, the way that he gets choked up when his buddy is giving him compliments. Just, oh my gosh. And him and his father play off of each other so well. But Will Ferrell just is easy to work with. I think everybody, who actually enjoys his comedy whatsoever understands how good Will Ferrell is. And he makes this movie, and it's one of the many that he does really well in. He just thrives in this situation. I got to watch his movie The House a while back, and he didn't feel comfortable in that situation. He felt like he had to work way too hard. And, the comedy was all about one thing, about the gambling stuff. And this movie, he was meant to do stuff like this. I mean, the improv stuff is funny. The malfunctioning with machines, it's all funny. So, other than that, it's just kind of little things like why they all went hunting together. I can appreciate the fact that the son didn't want to go because he looks like a gentle boy, and this girl, it gave her character a chance to stand out and go hunting. But then everybody goes. It's like a normal human situation. If a kid wants to go hunting with their parents or the grandparent, they go. The people that want to go, go. But then this whole crew that's in this movie, they all feel like they have to go along and walk along and see what happens. It's unbelievable. It's like, it's like nobody put some thinking through to this situation. So the ending really does strike us in the heart, old heartstrings, and it is a little emotional here and there, and it gives off the right message of spending time with family and loving those who you're caring for and the people that care for them, that we're all connected, we all need to get along and work together. It gives the right message off. I think it's pretty stereotypical of a bad comedy to do that so that they draw an audience in at the end and make people interested. And my big problem with this going in and why I'm watching it here May 2nd of 2018 is they push these movies so hard, especially when you have the name Will Ferrell and some other of the big names that are in this movie. There are a lot of them. They pushed it so hard for previews that I saw the previews probably 100 times or more just on commercials on TV. So all that stuff, when I heard it in the movie, it was okay. It's still kind of funny, but I was like, okay, is there going to be any more? And there was here and there, but mostly, it was just the stuff in the previews, and then everything else was kind of stupid. But the ending really does pull it together. We have to listen to John Cena sing, and I don't know if really if Mel Gibson really fit in this movie. I don't know if he's really made for comedy. I think he played his character fine. It's pretty easy for older people to play an old person, but I just don't know if he's meant for comedy. So if he just keeps up the action movies, I'd be appreciative of that. So other than that, I'll just give this movie a C and kind of move on with my life and be glad that I saw it. And that's about it for me. So a C for Daddy's Home 2. Let me know what you thought. Maybe it's better than what I, kind of was thinking, but I was just kind of sitting there and a lot of things were stupid. So thanks for watching, everybody. If you like anything about my review or any of my other reviews, give them a watch and subscribe to my channel if you want to stay connected. I'm really close to my 100th review here, and I just appreciate everybody who's watched. I went back and saw that my 12 Strong review has 165 views, and that's big for somebody that hasn't even made 100 reviews yet. To feel that appreciated and know that people are watching, it really helps. So thanks a lot for all the support. I am going to try and keep these going. I enjoy this. I enjoy watching movies, and I just see them in a different light than everybody else. So that's why I thought I'd start making reviews last year. So hasn't even been a year. So thank you so much, everybody. Give Daddy Home 2 a watch and then move on with your lives. And thanks for watching. Enjoy your movies.